Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another weekly session of Teams Office Hours with your host, Ricardo Wilkins. And again, this is just a weekly opportunity for about 30 minutes for you to come here and ask me any questions in the Q&A chat on the right-hand side of your screen. And yeah, we can just vibe on some Teams and remote work kind of stuff. So again, the Q&A chat is open. Feel free to ask me a question at any time. In the meantime, as I was thinking about, maybe a topic to talk about today, I thought I would show something in terms of having a Teams meeting and sharing PowerPoint that I thought was a little interesting and maybe not so obvious. We can obviously share, when you're in a meeting, we typically share our desktop, maybe even share a window. That's typically, I'm in a lot of Teams meetings, and that's typically what I see. People will share their desktop, usually maybe make the PowerPoint go full screen, and then they click through. Every now and then, some folks will upload the PowerPoint, which gives some interesting abilities, like the ability to for the viewer to click through the pages on their own, as opposed to what the presenter is doing. And so I really want to show that because I don't know if everybody's used that feature before. So I thought I'd show what that looks like and then show what I think is some interesting implications to these features. So again, even as I'm going through this, I'm here in my demo environment. I'm just going to kind of play around with it, show some things. But while I'm doing that, if you think of any question that doesn't have to be related to this topic, if you think of any questions, just throw it in the Q&A chat. This is, again, an open slot for asking and answering questions. But with that said, let's fire up a meeting. This is my Ricardo person, and I'm going to fire up a Meet Now session. Get a meeting going, and we'll go ahead and hit join now. Okay. So I am in this meeting, and I am going to add Megan here, who I've got sitting and waiting in her Teams area. So let's add Megan. She is. We'll just call her. You can see down below, it's coming through. So Megan is now in the meeting as well. So Megan's going to be the one that's going to be watching the PowerPoint that I present. Okay, so we have her down on the screen there. We'll have, Ricardo up here doing the presentation. All right. So let's go ahead and start with the traditional way, which would be, in fact, that'd be the next step, is to actually get a PowerPoint going here. I think I have this one here. So this is me opening up PowerPoint, right? Typical PowerPoint. In fact, this PowerPoint has a link in it, right? So in this case, let's say I don't know if many of you use the reading view. I actually like it because as opposed to always going full screen, which is the slideshow button, and then kind of either dealing with the presenter view or not being able to see the rest of your screen, the reader view basically goes full screen in the window of PowerPoint. So I like that. And so then with that being said, I'm going to share and not share my desktop, not share PowerPoint. I'm just going to share the window to the PowerPoint. Okay. So my little screen it's gone down in the corner, but I click it so I just want to bring this back up so I can kind of see everything here. And then as you can see, Megan is seeing my PowerPoint, right? And so even as I click through my PowerPoint, she's able to see that interaction, right? Even my cursor. Now, as you can see here, this is a live link for me, as you know, I own the PowerPoint. If I come over to Megan, it is not live for her. She's just watching my PowerPoint. So I'm actually clicking here in the window. Obviously, that link does not work. So gets the job done, but one, she can't click links, nor does she have any controls here for going through the pages. She is going to be watching or looking at whatever page I, click to. Okay, that's your typical. I mean, 90% of the meetings that I'm in kind of go that way when people are showing their PowerPoint. So let's stop that though. And so I think this one's called test one. Yep. Let's do that. And so you see it stopped there. Let's do that again. But this time, let's go to the PowerPoint area. And again, I'm using a commercial version of Teams today. I know a lot of times attendees to this are in the government, and I'm usually using the government tenant. But today I'm using the commercial one, and I just wanted to point that out because I know you see whiteboard over here and things like that. So again, commercial tenant. But this time, instead of a window, I'm going to actually select the PowerPoint, and there's one listed here, as you can see. But I could also browse for it and like grab it from my OneDrive or Teams or something like that. But since it's listed there nice and conveniently, I'll go ahead and click that. Now you can see it's opening test one PPTX, and I get some controls here. Slide 1 of 2. I get the ability to prevent participants from moving through the slides or obviously stop presenting. And so now from Megan's perspective, she's seeing the PowerPoint as normal, but now she's got some controls and she can actually go to slide 2, even though I'm still on slide 1, and anybody else that maybe viewing would be looking at slide 1. So she not only is she able to go to slide 1 or slide 2, and obviously she can use this button to go back to whatever slide I'm on, but also she's getting the links she's able to click the links that are in there. To me, that's a big deal, especially because this particular link is a survey. So imagine doing a presentation, and as part of my presentation, one of the slides is a survey, like one of my famous questions, who's in the audience? Are you an admin, a developer, a business user, that kind of thing. So she clicked it, and in her browser is now, able to interact with that quiz. So the fact that I uploaded my presentation instead of just presenting my desktop or a window lets her interact with links in the presentation, as well as going through the presentation as well. Even if I had stopped her ability to move through pages without me, right? So now she's kind of locked into seeing whatever I see. She's still, though, as I get to a page with a link, she's still able to click the link. So even taking away the control of which slide you're on doesn't take away that link control. So that's pretty cool. If for nothing else, putting a form in a survey, and normally I would take that link and put it in the chat of the meeting and say, can everybody click that and blah, blah, blah. And that works too, but it's kind of nice to have that in the actual PowerPoint itself. And with that being said, let's take it a step further, because if I stop sharing there, I have another one. Let's see here. If I think it's in my OneDrive here. Yeah, this one here. This is one of the presentations I send out a lot of times as a follow-up for my meetings, with a lot of nice resources for Teams. But as you can see here, it's full of links. I mean, it's just a PowerPoint full of links. And so if I try to present this in the desktop, or by presenting my desktop, I would inevitably get, whoever's in the meeting, the next thing they'd say is, how can I get this presentation? Because they wouldn't be able to click it. They, you have no idea where these things go. So they're going to want the presentation. And I see that in meetings all the time. When it's a good presentation, you see the chat window kind of blow up with all of these requests. Hey, can you please distribute this presentation? So, and while they still would want this, I would suspect at least some of these that maybe they are maybe Megan's really interested in right now. She, at least in this moment, has the ability to, let me give her some control back, has the ability to come in here and click some of these, links, right? So YouTube links and whatnot. So that's useful, especially in a slide like this or a presentation like this with a lot of links. And I've seen plenty of presentations where at least one page on the slide is full of links, and then at that point you just can't wait for them to finish the meeting and send out the presentation so you can click through and kind of see what's going on there. So I think that is useful. So that really shows the difference, I think, between as I stop presenting here, the difference between showing a desktop or window where I can interact to actually uploading, where the person can both control which slide they're on as well as click into links. And then I kept thinking about it, and I thought I'd take it one step further and show a nice feature of, if you're on the latest version of PowerPoint, and this is in commercial, and I don't think it's in GCC's version of PowerPoint yet. If we go, let me go ahead and open, actually, so we got PowerPoint open here. I'll come back out to this view, and let me open up another one that I created called Test. So in this one, obviously, we got a nice little title page here. Let me open this up. But on the second one, you see we have a full-blown form. And the way I got there, if I make a new slide, it's in the insert menu. There's actually a new button for forms that can actually go look at the forms that I have in my forms, application, which, again, if you're not familiar with that, if I come out here and go to my O365 page, all these cool apps, and forms is one of them, right? Go to forms is for making forms, surveys, and quizzes and all that good stuff. And you can see I have that untitled quiz there. PowerPoint's aware of it, and it lets me insert it and literally pops it in there. So it looks pretty cool right now, but what does that look like in a presentation? So let's close this. I guess I'll let it auto save here. So it's saved. I'll close that out. Close this one too. And now again, I want to share my desk, or I want to share something, and I'm going to share this test.pptx. Okay, and what we see first off is obviously the that front page, but we can see that the quiz is on the second page and the third page actually. But over here on Megan, this is fully interactive. I can actually, instead of just clicking a link to go over to that quiz, I can literally in the meeting submit this quiz, interact with this quiz, go all the way to submission. Again, you see here I'm on a whole other slide. So she has submitted it. From my perspective, I could go, maybe back to 2. That it does still change on Deborah's or Megan's screen. If I go back to slide 3, this particular form is a setup for submitting more than once. If it was not, though, I think she would have got a message about you've already submitted this. So a nice little add-in that, when combined with the sharing of a PowerPoint in a meeting, makes it fully interactive. And so just a lot of interesting possibilities there. The only thing I wish I could do, though, is show the results as they're coming in. Imagine being in a meeting with 100 people, everybody starts filling this out. I would love to show those results coming in real time and updating those charts and everything, which I could do, but I would have to stop sharing this, fire up a browser where the responses are shown, and do something like that. So it'd be nice if there was some ability to do that while I'm sharing this presentation. But still great to have this ability, again, for a person who is viewing your share to actually be able to interact with it on their own. So I thought that was pretty cool. So to me, I was already, I like the idea of sharing a desktop and letting people move through the slides, but it just dawned on me that there was additional value of letting them actually interact with something because of a feature, either basic hyperlinks or a cool new feature like this insert forms in PowerPoint. So I thought that was cool. I thought I'd show that to you. While I was doing that, I do see a question here. So let me take a look, see what this is about. So questions about a channel. I hit a channel, but as I navigate through Teams, going from chat to calendar and then back to Teams, I keep landing on this channel. It's almost like it's a default landing spot, but I'm on government version of Teams, so I don't have the ability to pin or unpin a channel. So that's not it. I hit the channel, so it doesn't appear in my list of visible channels on the team. How can I designate a different home channel so that as I navigate through Teams, I don't land on that hidden channel? So as I think about that, it's really a question of, to your point, let me go to my other environment here. I think it's this one. Sure, get that out of the way. Go to my Teams here. As you were kind of pointing out, going back and forth from calendar to, chat and then back to Teams. I don't know if, let's see, if I go back here. Yeah, I've never thought about the default landing page here. I mean, even as I'm trying it out here, it appears that the default is just the top channel here. The fact that you're landing on a hidden channel is kind of weird. But in general, yeah, I'm not aware of a concept of a home channel. So I feel like I understand the question, but I don't know if I've got a good answer for that. Definitely if a channel is hidden, shouldn't be landing on that for sure. I know I have seen some times where I have hidden or unhidden a channel and it didn't kick in right away. I've either had to click around somewhere or maybe even if I'm in the browser, hit refresh or something like that. So I don't know if that's your issue. But yeah, the default, yeah, as I'm clicking around here, obviously, if I click here, yeah, as I'm going back, yeah, I don't know what I don't know what the logic is related to how it decides where I land once I come back to Teams. So that is an interesting question. Yeah, I don't think I got a good answer for that. So I will, I'll have to play with that and see what I can come up with. So good question. I just don't have a good answer for it. But I guess I could say I've not heard of the concept of a home channel. So I don't know that you're missing a button or a feature for deciding where to land. But thanks for the question. Any other questions, feel free to put them into chat as well. If I circle back to a little PowerPoint thing for a quick second, the other thing I would mention is that in that sharing process, you can see that obviously I could do the window or the PowerPoint itself, and when I do the PowerPoint, you see I have the browse button here. I could upload a PowerPoint from anywhere on my machine, or one from a team, or one from OneDrive. In my little bit of testing, it felt like the OneDrive, and then probably because it's already in the cloud, this felt faster. So in terms of when you're having your meeting and want to make sure you get up and running with your share as quick as possible, maybe the good pre-meeting step would be to put your presentation either in OneDrive or somewhere in one of the team in the team, and share it from there versus uploading it at the time of the meeting. Even back in the Skype for Business days, I remember that sometimes being awkward experience. It's depending on how big the person's PowerPoint is as they try to upload it in the moment. So I like the idea of having these cloud-based options here, and it does feel like they got going a lot quicker than uploading just a file from scratch in order to present it. So just another little pro tip there. But yeah, I think that feature will be useful, at least to me, in meetings going forward. I'll go ahead and end this call with Megan, let her get back to her day. And she is here, and I will hang up with her. What I should have done, actually, if I jump back in here, just for giggles, I'm going to join now. I should have actually hit the end meeting button. Again, this is a newer feature rolling out to commercial where it will kick her out automatically instead of someone having to stay in the meeting and everybody ending on their own. It ends it for everyone. So figured I'd use that feature as well. Again, I'm in the commercial. I'm in a commercial tenant as opposed to the government tenant that I'm usually in. Okay. Any other questions for the day, for the week? All right, well, not seeing any questions. Looks like I can give you about 8 minutes of your day back. This recording, along with all the others, I'll eventually put into my YouTube channel. The link you used to get to this meeting today, maybe a few minutes after this call ends, that link will become a link that will take you to the recording. So if you missed it or came late or whatever, you can see this and all the previous weekly office hours via this link after this meeting. And I do see another question that has come in. The forms and PowerPoint integration you just demonstrated, is it in the government cloud too? So what is in the government cloud, as I tested, is sharing PowerPoint for the purpose of being able to hit the hyperlinks. That did work. In fact, I'm in my government tenant now. Meet now, join, and share. So yes, I can share PowerPoint, browse for it. In terms of which ones show here, I think there's some intelligence, maybe recent or something like that, but I can always browse for it. So all of that functionality is there. What isn't there is the fancy insert forms button that let me put an interactive form right into the PowerPoint page. And for those in the government cloud, you know that even in Teams, the forms, like a full forms tab integration isn't there yet either. If I had to guess, I'd say they, whatever the challenge is, there is, for forms across the board, forms integration across the board. But that's speculation. But in any event, everything we did today, except for the fancy PowerPoint forms button, is in the government cloud. So as you can see here, this is GCC tenant. I can definitely upload PowerPoint, and that interaction with the links and the controlling of the slides, that should be available in the government cloud, but just not the fancy forms insert add-in. So that's a good question. It's good to be specific there. And it sounds like you're a little sad that it's not there, and I would agree. But I'll always on the roadmap, right? If it's in commercial, we work extra hard, especially these days. We've been working extra hard to get those two the government cloud, as soon as possible. So I guess I'd say I've not seen any information to suggest it's not coming, but I don't have a date on that specific feature. So just patience and fingers crossed, right? All right. I'll give a few seconds for any other questions that may pop in. And if not, I will give you 4 minutes back. So have a great Friday. Feel free to check out the video afterwards. And I will see you next week, Friday, 10 a.m. Thanks.